Hello, Saints. Good to be with you here today. Hey, I'd like to share a thought with you about prayer and what I call secondary. Basing it out of Mark chapter 11, verses 15 through 17, when Jesus came to Jerusalem, said he entered the temple and he drove out those who were selling in the temple. He overturned the tables of the money changers, the seats of those that were selling doves, and he would not permit anyone to carry merchandise through the temple. And I want to just kind of stop right there for a second because why? Why would he not want people to carry merchandise through the temple? And he went on to say that, hey, is not my house to be called a house of prayer? But you have made it a robber's den. So think about carrying money through the temple, becoming a robber's den. He overturned the tables and the chairs. What was going on there? And I think the big part of it was that they were robbing the people of was quiet time. How hard is it to pray and to really focus on the intimacy with God in prayer if there's a lot of noise going on? Hey, come over here and buy my stuff, it's cheaper. Or, hey, I've got the best rates for exchanging your money. I've got the purest of the doves, come here. People going back and forth and back and forth, and man, how distracting would that be? So how would you be able to say, hey, this is a house of prayer, and being able to listen, being able to hear the voice of God? So I kind of have this thought that it seems like when listening is taken out of prayer and only the talking or the telling time is active, that it would become easy for prayer to become religious. Yeah, so when Jesus drove out the busyness in the temple, he drove out one of the distractions to prayer. Why? Because prayer had become secondary. Business had become primary. So I have to think about what has pushed prayer to become secondary in my life. What's the thing that would be hindering my time with God, keeping me from being able, to listen and to listen well? Is it the busyness? Is it the lack of discipline to be quiet and listen? Is it the inconsistency in prayer and reflection? How can I experience God if I'm doing all the talking and controlling the relationship? I think that's a pretty powerful thing, because we are trying to control the relationship when we're doing all the talking. We have to ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid to hear? When I don't make space for the relationship to build with God, to experience his life in me, to taste of his love for me, my perspective of life is one-sided and becomes distorted. True. So I have to ask God, please forgive me for being self-centered and for trying to control our relationship. Because I do desire to know God. I do desire to taste of his love and to experience his life. And so I have to ask, God to drive out anything in my life that would cause my relationship with him to become secondary. And that's my prayer for you too, to take the time to consider, has prayer become secondary in your life? What are the things that are causing distractions, causing you to not be able to get quiet before the Lord and listen for that still small voice that desires to communicate, to speak, to love on you, and to let you know how valuable you are to him. God's grace, God's peace be with you. Until next time, God bless.